be careful what you do when you do what you do online. Just be careful. I mean, when you're tagging locations, when you're posting pictures, just be vigilant. Hey you, welcome back to my channel. I'm Millicent. I'm a mom, musician, and entrepreneur. And yeah, welcome to my life. I'll get into today's video right away because so like today is like a story time. I'm going to tell you guys about my experience with a stalker and how that went and how it came about. And it was a very traumatizing experience for me. I will not lie. It changed the way I literally operate online and I do so many things. It was just traumatic. So this took place it started.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Oh, Siri.
Hello, Millicent.
I'm not talking to you, bro. Okay, so let's start again. So the story I'm about to tell you is based on actual events. Like, it literally happened to me. It happened to me. And the year was 2018. So it started off like there was this guy who basically saw me when I was like, I'd get off the bus from work and there'll be like a short walk home so that I can get home. So in that little walk, he saw me the first day and he drove next to me trying to get my number. I was just like, no. And then basically he waited for my bus every other day after that. But no, he is actually not the stalker in the story, believe it or not, even though he was stalking me, come to think of it. But so he did this for a couple of days until I'm like, yo, you know what, I'm not going to give you my number, but let me give you my Instagram handle. So look for me on Instagram, DM me or whatever, but I'm not giving you my number. So he does that and he starts DMing me. So yeah, it was just basically like small talk. Hey, hi, hey, hi, hey, hi. You know how it is. And then the one day he DM'd me, like, I think he DM'd me in the morning. And I only got around to responding to my DMs in the evening. So I then responded back. I was like, hey, how's it? And then he didn't talk to me he didn't respond back basically for the next week. So when he didn't respond back, when he then responded back after like a week, he was like, no, why did you take so long to reply my messages? Now my wife saw your message. She's so mad. Now, yada, yada. Now I'm in trouble. So I'm so confused. I'm like, okay, first of all, what did your wife see? I literally said, hey, how are you? Or responded to, how are you doing? You know, it was still in the first stages of conversation. I hadn't even said what's up or what you're doing today. It wasn't even that deep. So what did she see? And second of all, why are you getting people's numbers or trying to get into people's DMs when you have a wife, right? So I was just like, too many red flags, to be honest. And then after that, then we spoke the next day. He texted me the next day. We didn't speak. And he was like, can you please, he sent me an account name and he's like, can you please block this account from your profile so that she doesn't see your profile? I'm like, who's that? He's like, no, that's my wife. I don't want her seeing your profile. I'm like, you know what? This is just all too complicated for me. I'll block both of y'all because I'm not about this. So I blocked his account. I didn't actually get around to blocking hers. Yeah, I didn't block hers in that time. I just blocked his account and I was just like, out of sight, out of mind. I'm not gonna do this back and forth. This is so weird for me, right? And then yeah, a few weeks later, actually, when this was all going on, I was actually pregnant. So a few days later, I then found out I'm pregnant. And then, yeah, I like fell off social media. And I was off social media for like months while I brewed my little baby in my stomach. And then I came back, and the first time I remember the first post I made was close to my birthday, and I was just basically announcing my pregnancy and posting pictures and updating people on what had happened, like this is what's going on in my life, yada, yada, yada. And then I did a Q&A. So when I did that Q&A, I started noticing some like fake accounts being created and like asking me random questions like, are you good with your baby daddy? Where's your baby daddy? Do you still love your baby daddy? Are you still in a relationship with your baby daddy? So I was so confused. And I remember even posting about it. I'm like, yo, stop creating fake accounts. Like, if you want to ask me something, just ask me outright. I'll answer. It's not like I'm gonna judge you for asking a question. I mean, you're curious, ask the question. So these fake accounts just kept coming. Like they would be created. I can tell it was literally created now because it had zero followers, zero anything. And so I'm like, I was so confused. At first, I actually thought it was my baby daddy trying to get attention, but I just found it so weird that he would do that. And I'm like, you know what, dude, if you want to come talk to me, say it with your chest, right? And then, yeah, so I didn't think much of it. I just left it alone. Yeah, I just left it alone. And then this guy started DMing me with he started, no, he didn't. I'm lying. That's not what happened. So after this, I went for a little while. Marty was born, yada, yada, yada. So now I went shopping in my local discount. Like I'm just in our local discount. So we actually stayed in the same neighborhood. Funny enough, that's how he had seen me walking home, yada, yada. And then I bumped into this guy in discount. So when I bumped into him in discount, he's like, hi. So I'm like, bye, you and your wife. He's like, no, situation's done changed, yada, yada. I'm just like, even my situation changed. I have a whole child to worry about now. I'm not into this whole stuff. And then basically this guy is like, okay, cool. And then he gets home. Did he not start looking for me? He starts looking for me, liking my pictures, DMing me, trying to get in contact basically with me. And this just continued for a little while actually. And at the same time, I'm still getting these fake accounts sending me DMs asking me random questions. But obviously, I didn't respond to any of it because I was like, if you're gonna ask me anything, come out right. And then, yeah, this went on for a while. So after a while, I just got over it. I didn't reply him or whatever, and it was just like that. And then one day, and then he texts me the one day and he's like, I told you to block my wife. Can you please block my wife? I'm like, dude, what's this whole thing about blocking your wife? Can you be relaxed? And he's like, I can literally tell you in your house you have this color couches, your wall is this color, your curtains are this color, your TV is like this, your whatnot is like this. I can literally tell you everything about your house because this girl lives on your profile. Like everything you post, she's there analyzing, checking it out, trying to see what's going on, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, wow, this is just extreme for me. So I went, and I blocked the profile. So, but that doesn't help because I have a public profile at the end of the day. So I'm just like, this is just redundant. So one day I had a friend. So me and this guy have a mutual friend, right? Like same circles and everything. And this mutual friend was actually dating like a friend of mine. So one day we went out, me and my friend, we went out and she was with her mans. And then he went out with wherever he had gone out with his friends. So I wasn't with him like in the same place. Actually, I didn't even know he was there. But then she noticed that we were in the same places because obviously she was tracking my account and she was tracking him somehow. And then like a week later, my older sister calls me up. She's like, dude, there is this woman who just called me. So I'm like, woman? What do you mean a woman just called you? She's like, a woman just called me saying, do you know so-and-so? So the sad thing is that all this time I actually didn't know what this guy's real name was. I literally knew him by his handle, but I didn't even know what his actual name was. And so when she was saying this name, it wasn't ringing bells. Until I'm like, no, man, maybe it's this guy because he's the only guy who ever talks about his wife doing wild shit, right? Wild things. Ooh. And then, yeah, so I'm like, what did she say? And she's like, she basically said you're having an affair with her husband and she wants you to stop seeing him, yada, 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 all that stuff. So I'm like, I'm so confused. Like, okay, anyway, it's fine. And I explained to my sister the whole story. I'm like, there's nothing to worry about. Let me actually go and text this girl and tell her to call me. So I go into this girl's DM. I send her a DM. And I'm like, yo, hey girl, my sister told me you called her regarding this. This is my number. You can call me so that we can actually have a chat because there's really nothing going on. And I just want to clear the air, right? So I waited and waited and waited for her to get back to me, right? So sis finally called me up and we had a long ass chat. I cleared everything up for her. We seemed to be on the same page. She's basically like, no, this is what I thought, but you know, men. And I was like, yeah, you know, men, I didn't even know you were in the picture. And she's like, no. So it went on for we had a really long conversation. But at the end of it all, she was just like, no, I'm so sorry for putting you on the spot and for, embarrassing you in front of your sister. I'm like, no, I'm not embarrassed because I didn't do anything, but, it is what it is. And then she hung up the phone. So in that moment, I thought everything was like done, like we good, like now we can move on with life, right? But no, that was not the end of it all. So weeks went by and I completely forgot about those guys. I was just like, oh, we finally cleared it. So it's chilled, right? And then, yeah. So weeks went by and then my sister jokingly was like, oh, this woman, she's like really, really focused. She's the type to even go and call mom. And I'm like, but where would she have find mom's number? So in my head, like, where did she even find my sister's number? It was like also just suspiciously suspicious. But I just left it at that and I was just like, you know what? Whatever. We had a chat, we are good, so nothing else is the problem, right? After that, I got a random call from a random man, right? And then he calls me up and he's like, are you Millicent? I'm like, yeah, I'm Millicent. Who's this? And he's basically like, XX and XY, they're my friends. I'm a family friend, and I'm calling you because she's saying that, well, XX is saying that you are ruining her marriage. So I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what's going on? Then she's like, you were with her husband last night and she basically is not happy about that. So she wants me to speak to you. Maybe you'll listen to me because she's tried talking to you and you're not really being responsive. So I was so confused because at that time, I was home. I was home alone with Marty actually. We still had a nanny and she was off that weekend. And so I was just like, I don't know, man. Like, can can you give me more? Can you enlighten me? Like, where did she see me? Whatever. And it's like, no, she didn't see you, but she sent me the pictures you were posting online, of where you were, whatnot, whatnot. So I'm like, send me these pictures. I don't know what you are talking about. They sent me these pictures. First of all, these pictures are not even of me, right? But the most worrying thing is that these pictures are of my neighbor, who's also my colleague at work, who's also my friend. And she was having a birthday party at Altitude Beach. And she was out with her friends. And she posted a picture of herself. Like, so it was a picture of her drink and her bag, those aesthetically pleasing pictures. So I'm like, where did she get this picture? And then she's like, no, she got it from your profile. And I'm like, I don't have this on my profile. I sent him a link to my profile. I'm like, if you see that picture on my profile, tell me because it's not there. And so now I'm worried because I saw that picture on my friend's profile. So now it's dawning on me that this woman not only stalks me, but she is like literally stalking everyone around me, my sister, my friends, my colleagues, everybody she thinks I have some sort of interaction with. She's following them to try and figure out where I am at what time and at what point. So basically her husband was at Altitude Beach and my friend was at Altitude Beach at the same time. So she assumed we were together. So I'm like, nah, man, I'm at home. I'm with my son. I don't know what you guys want me to do. I'm not the woman you guys are looking for. If there's another woman, then there is another woman, but it's not me, right? And yeah, I hung up the phone on this guy and I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't help you, but it's not me. I didn't even tell my friend that she was being stalked. Unfortunately, I don't even know how I forgot, but I was just so disoriented because I couldn't even understand how someone could have so much time to be going through people's profiles like that and doing that in the worst way. Like, that didn't even make sense to me. Like, it didn't make sense. Whew, it feels like a long video. Anyway, so that happens and then we go for another few weeks. And then this time now, I remember it was dinner time. I was sitting in there, we're about to eat. Then my mom calls. My mom calls and she was not happy. She's like, Rumbi? And, I was just like, okay, this is my mom calls me every day, but this was a different tone. So the first thing she says to me is like, did we not raise you in a household with like both mom and dad? I'm like, yeah, you did. Why? He's like, so why are you trying to ruin another woman's marriage? I'm like, what? And she's like, this woman just called me, what not what? I'm like, no, mom, like, no, like, this cannot be happening. And then she's like, anyway, this woman called me, she told me this, and I told her to call me back. And I'm like, you know what, mom, call her back and let's do a video call, because I've never actually seen what this woman looks like. I don't even know who she is, but she keeps coming at me with this story. And I didn't even, like, I made it really clear to my mom that, you know what, no, like, I have not done anything with this man. There's absolutely nothing. So my mom gets us into a video call. We get into the video call. Like, I don't even know. So the minute we get into this video call, she's like to my mom, can you see? So her husband wasn't behind her. Like, so it was her and then her husband. And then obviously I was in my own house. And it's like to my mom, can you see the way they're looking and smiling at each other? They're smiling at each other because they think they've tricked me. So I'm like, whoa. What? I am like laughing because I can't believe it has gotten to this point where you have called my mom over something that I did not do, right? So, she's going on and she's telling my mom your daughter did this, and then they were out and they went to Altitude Beach and then they went and then they what. So my question, so I'm like, no, girl, I've spoken to you before and I cleared everything up. You spoke to my sister. She cleared everything up with you. And I thought we were okay. I spoke to whoever, your uncle, brother, friend, whoever it was who called me, and I told him that I wasn't at Altitude Beach and that was my friend who has nothing to do with anything, right? So why are you calling this time? What happened? Like, what happened for you to decide that, no, I'm going to call her mom because this has gone too far? Like, what happened? Guys, she has the audacity to open her mouth to tell my mom. I saw Millicent's most recent post. She posted and she was by Parrots. So I'm like, yeah, I was by Parrots. So what about Parrots? It's like, Parrots is my favorite restaurant. And I know that my husband would take you there because he would want to spite me. So I can't go to Parrots on my own. I can't go and eat pizza. That's what it means. I'm like, first of all, I was not at Parrots with your husband. I was actually at Parrots with somebody else. Like, who's not him? And like, can I not just go to Parrots? Like, okay, is there any more evidence more than the fact that I was at a specific restaurant that makes you think I was with your husband? Mind you, there was nothing. And she just sent my mom the recorded conversation of the conversation we had when I called her. Apparently she recorded me. She sent the whole thing to my mom. But obviously there was like nothing incriminating there because I was basically telling her there is nothing happening. So my mom is basically like so confused. So my mom starts talking to her later on, and it turns out she has issues with her parents. You know, she married a Nigerian, and then her parents told her to choose between marrying a Nigerian and not marrying a Nigerian, and she married a Nigerian and her parents ditched her. So it was just a long ass story, and I was just like, mom, yeah, it's too heavy for me. And like after that call, she then calls me up and she's like, I will not be a single mom like you. I'm not going to let my husband leave me, whatnot. So she called my mom. She even then has the audacity to tell my mom that her husband is Marty's dad. And like, that was like the first I was hearing it. And then all of a sudden, everything started making sense. The fake accounts asking me if I'm still with my baby daddy. Are you in love with your baby daddy? Do you love him? You know, all these things that were just going on about me and my son. And her thinking that he's coming to take care of me and my son. He comes to my house. Like, there was just a lot. So I'm like, you believe Martin is your husband's son? What? So obviously my mom already knew who Marty's dad was. So she was also just like, auntie, this story of yours is not balancing properly. It's not balancing. But yeah, she now says, oh no, now I look at Marty, he doesn't look like him. Like, I was looking at Marty's pictures as he grew up, and now he doesn't look like my husband. Like, guys, it was just a lot for me. It was a whole lot for me. So yeah, after that I had to then basically go back and explain to my mom again after the call and be like, no ma'am, she's been doing this. And so my mom then advised me, you know what, maybe go and file a police report, because this woman, the way she's moving is a bit wild, is a bit not normal, and you don't know what she's thinking of doing. She might decide, I want to eliminate you, and there's nothing you can do. So like, it was getting a bit freaky because like, she's basically stalking me to the level of finding people's contact details online. Like, my mom is in Zimbabwe, and she basically searched until she found my mom's contact details. She searched until she found my sister's contact details. She searched enough to know who lives in the same area as me, who does what, when, where, how. So it was getting a bit tricky. It was getting quite scary, and so yeah, I had to start taking it more seriously at that point, right? So my mistake in that moment is that I figured like the worst thing she could possibly do was like call my mom, because I mean, reporting someone to their parents is usually like the last straw of a dying horse. And so like everything just fizzled out, and then I never went to the cops anymore. I just decided, I don't want to keep focusing or giving my energy to these people, like I've given them enough. But that was not the good move. It was not the right move, basically. Weeks later, I remember I was sitting at home. I was actually home alone with Marty again, and this woman, the man who had called me up the time before, he calls me up again, and he's like, "Ma'am, I think we really need to talk because this woman is really not happy about you." So now I'm like really pissed off. I'm like, guys, what do you want me to do to prove to you that I'm not even talking to this guy? I don't even have his number anymore. I don't even have his handles. We are not in contact. Trust me, I wish I had his number because I want to cuss him out. Real talk. Like, I'm not even happy about what's going on. You guys are just involving me in your marital issues that have nothing to do with me, right? And I'm in my own relationship. I'm trying to move on with my own life. Can you just leave me alone, type of vibes. Then he's like, no, I think it's best that we come to your house and discuss. And I'm like, you think I'm going to give you guys my address with the way y'all are moving? And they're like, there's no need. We're actually on our way to your house. So please, we're just asking for you to accommodate us, whatnot. I'm like, call bluff. On your way to my house. Good luck. Lo and behold, I get a text message. We are outside. Please, can you come and talk to us? So I'm like, okay. So I step outside my house and I peek and I see two men standing by my gate. I didn't even move close to the gate, guys, because at that point my heart was racing. I'm alone at home with Marty. And now I'm thinking, you know what? This woman, the way she's been moving, she could just shoot me there by the gate and I'm dead. Like, how do they know where I stay? What is going on? So I'm like shouting. There was a bit of a way from the gate to my house. So I was like shouting from about 50 meters away. And I'm like, how did you get my address? And they're like, no, she followed you or she tracked you. I don't know what happened. I think she maybe saw me at the mall. Because remember, we're in the same area. And then she basically just followed me home and figured out where I stayed or whatever. And she knew who my neighbor was. She knew everything about me, guys. Everything. And I remember in that moment, I was so pissed off and I'm like calling the cops. I'm dialing 10111. I'm like shouting at those guys, how dare you come to my house? This is my son. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm shouting like I've never been so scared in my life. And I'm shouting from like 50 meters away. And like, I'm calling the cops. I'm like, I'm filing a peace order on you guys. Like, guys, I have never been so scared. Like, I'm even getting a little bit teary-eyed thinking about the fear that was going through my body at that time. And yeah, it was so terrible. It was like, it was crazy. And then I basically told them to F off. I'm calling the cops, whatnot. And then they ended up leaving before the cops came. But in that moment, I actually went and I filed the report. And I'm just like, I'm going to do this. If ever they contact me, if ever they call me, if ever they do whatever they need to do, come and breathe in my direction, I'm getting them arrested. Like, I was focused. I was like, no, this has gone too far. And obviously, I lived in absolute fear for the most time that I was now staying where I used to stay, because now she can just show up. And like, I became a homebody. I just changed. I was just scared. And because I don't know what she's capable of, because if she's done so much and she's so hell-bent on I'm not going to be a single mom, then she's just going to take it out on whoever she can take it out on. And I was that recipient, basically. So it was a scary time of my life. It was very scary. And I remember even telling Bae that I'm just really scared. And I actually recorded this video before I moved. and a version for my Instagram, for my IGTV, but I never released it because I was like, this woman knows where I stay. What if she then sees me talk about it and then she comes back to my house? What will I then do? You know? But I guess now, since I've left that on in the past, I'm more comfortable talking about it and bringing it out there. And yeah, it was a very scary situation for me. And that was not even the end of it. Like, I feel like maybe she had memorized my number or whatever, because I think 2 or 3 months down the line after that encounter with those men outside my house, she gave me a call. She called me with a phone number I didn't even recognize because I had saved up all her numbers and blocked them. So basically, they couldn't get through. She called me up and she was so mad. She's like, you are the reason why. She was just shouting, you're the reason why I'm away from my kids. I'm in the psychiatric ward. I'm in a hospital. I can't see my babies. My babies are small. She's shouting at me. And in that moment, I realized that I've given this woman too much power. Like, all this time I've been entertaining her. I told her day one I've done nothing wrong. All this time that I've been taking her calls, answering her thingies, I've been giving her too much power. Now she thinks she can just do anything with me. And in that moment, I was like, woman, F off. If you're away from your kids, it's your effing fault. It's not my fault. It's you. And if you actually cared about your marriage, you'd focus on your marriage and not focus on me. Leave me the hell alone. If you ever call me again, I'm getting you arrested. I have a peace order out against you and your husband. If any of you contact me again, being in a psychiatric ward, being away from your kids is going to be the last thing you ever have to worry about, because I will get you arrested and you will go away and you'll be behind bars for months upon years, because I will not give up. So if you know anything is good for you, if you know what is good for you, in that moment, I was so mad. And she's like, no, you can't. I'm like, I'm saying that. And don't ever call me again. I'm hanging up this phone. I'm not going to block this number. Call me again and see what I can do. And I think that was like in like January. And I haven't heard from her since. And now we're like in July. And it's been nice. And thank God I've moved. I've started again and everything. That's really just helped me. That's why also one of the reasons why I really moved, because I was just no longer comfortable with the place I was staying at. Because first of all, she knew where I stayed, and I didn't know what a state of mind is like, and she's just been moving crazy. And second of all, my old nanny knew where I stayed, and also she was moving crazy. So I didn't want those people knowing where I stay and just being able to drop in on me at any point and catch me unaware. So yeah, I was scared. I lived at a point where I would literally be so scared, even walking out on an Uber. I'll just ask the Uber driver, please, can you wait for me to get into the house before you leave? You know, things like that. And it wasn't nice. It wasn't nice at all. I don't like living like that and giving people so much power. And I guess that's experience taught me a lot of things. And there's so much that I now do online differently than I used to do in the past. For example, when I post, I never post of a place that I am. So if you ever see a post from me like tagging a location, chances are I've already left that place and I'm somewhere else comfortable in blankets or in someone's arms or doing something else. And then I'll post and tag a place, but I'll never disclose my location online. You know, like that's like, it's just some things that I learned, like small things like that. I'm not disclosing my information online. I'm not posting pictures of what the exterior of my house looks like. I'm not showing people like which hood I'm in. I'm not doing that. And I don't want to do that because I've seen what kind of what people can do with that information. And people will try and ruin your lives. People will try and ruin your lives. People will look for you. People will follow you. You will tag that you are having lunch at News Cafe. People will come watch you have your lunch. When it's time for you to leave, they will follow you home. Now they know where you stay. So like, and I know you can't stop that from happening because a psycho is a psycho, and whether they see you now, they can still follow you home. But I just feel like it's just good to be vigilant, guys. Be vigilant out there and just watch out. When you're going home, check if there are no cars following you. Use different routes. If you jog in the morning, use different routes every day. Just practice different things to make sure you're throwing people off and you can see the people that are, you know, consistently following you or doing certain things. I just don't trust people. And Also, to married men, can y'all just stick to your marriages? Because, like, now look what you're putting me through so much trauma, and I'm not even the one who's wrong. Like, I'm not even the one who's wrong. Like, can y'all just do right and do right by your wives and your children? Because now look at us. Some of us are just getting third degree for no reason, just because y'all just can't keep it within. Like, for real. So I've learned that. Also, guys, block unfriendly accounts. Like, you see random things following you, block. Let people be intentional about their stalking. If they're gonna stalk you, show their face. And I remember taking pictures of that woman, and I told her that day, I told her off, I was like, I have photos of you, and the next minute the next time you contact me, I'm posting them online and telling people about you and what you have done and what you are doing and what has happened to you. And I don't care what third degree you receive, because at this point you do not care about me. So why should I care about you? You know? But yeah, this was my stalker experience. And I did a poll on my Instagram where I was just asking people if they've been through similar situations and people been stalked. And I find that a lot of people are actually stalked. And I feel like in the information age that we are in, people just think just because they have access to your life, they have access to your life. It doesn't work like that, guys. You're looking at someone's life from what they've feel they want to show you, and it doesn't mean that you're part of that life. So don't make yourself a part of a life that you're not a part of. And if someone shows you that they don't want you in their space, don't try and linger. Why are you trying to be that person? Especially men. I saw some of them people, even one of my responses was that she was getting followed and she was a high school student. Does that even make sense? Why are you following a high school student? Why are you stalking your ex? Why are you stalking the woman your husband is cheating on you with? Why are you stalking the woman you think your husband is cheating on you with? All this stuff just messes with our brains. It messes with our heads. It needs to stop. Just stop it. If your ex is gone, he's gone. Okay, fine. Check up on him here and there. But don't be stalking him and knowing exactly where he is, what he's doing, what he's eaten, where he's moved to, what work he's working at, who's his new girlfriend is. No, don't do that to your life. Your life is yours. Own your own life and do what you need to do. Stalking is wrong. And it can get you arrested. It can ruin your life. The same way you're ruining the person you're stalking's life. So yeah, this is a very touchy topic for me, because I am going to tell you guys, I was scared. Shitless. I was scared. I didn't know what I was doing. These people showed up to my house. She called my mom. She called my sister. She knew exactly who my friends were, my neighbor, what they're doing. It scared me. But I'm not scared anymore. I am a child of God, and He has conquered the world, so I have conquered. The most she can do is return me to my Maker, but my Maker will not be very happy with that. You know? He will not be very happy with that. And they will see and reap the benefits of that. Benefits. So yeah, guys, that's like my chat for today. That was my story time for today. It's so heavy, but just be careful what you guys are doing online. Just be careful. Like, not even online, even in real world. In the real world, just be careful. You don't know what a person's brain works like. People have wild thoughts. Not those kinds, not Rihanna ones, like wild thoughts, like real wild thoughts. So just be careful, stay vigilant, and stay safe, especially in this COVID times, guys. Stay safe. Thank you for watching. I love you for watching, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Remember to like and subscribe and share.